Thank you everyone for your patience, and welcome back to another free Wednesday concert here at Valley College, to those of you watching on video. Today is October 4th, and we have a concert called The Art of the Duo, which our musicians will explain to you in a second. I just wanted to point out some things that we have. QR codes on there for the calendar, the Facebook group, and a reminder that our radio station is now broadcasting these concerts, where they do a little interview before and one after. So we're excited to have them included into the program here. So today I'm very happy to bring back two friends of ours here at Valley College who played with us many times. I think some of you may recognize them if you've been to concerts before. So first, Maria Newman.
Very nice to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Wendy Kroger, who plays piano. So they're going to give you a few minutes of sort of a preview of what you're going to hear, and present their concert. And as usual, we'll have a few minutes at the end if anyone has any questions for them. Okay.
And I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank your incredible vocal professor, Diana Tash, with whom we have performed for many, many years, including here. And she's here in the audience today. It means so much. She is, listen to her, Bach woman, and vote Grammy.
So we entitled this program The Art of the Duo because you're going to be hearing two different string duos, but only one string player. Amazing. This is one piece for violin and piano, and the other piece for viola and piano, two extremely different pieces. The first piece was written by Antonin Dvorak in 1893, and the second piece was written by Maria Newman, a real, live, living, breathing composer.
Hopefully I'll be breathing for a while yet.
Yes, and in terms of when this was written, that's actually part of the story, because it's a piece that has evolved. The Dvorak was written when Dvorak came to the United States. He was invited here to be the head of a brand new American music conservatory in New York, which there had never been an American conservatory. And Dvorak is of Czech descent, and he came here and was very much inspired by the folk music of the United States. In his native land, he used a lot of folk melodies, and that just transferred when he came here to the United States. He also lived in a Czech colony in
Spillville, Iowa. Spillville, Iowa.
Wouldn't
Truly exists.
Yes. And so while he was here, he wrote some of his most famous pieces, including the American Quartet, or string quartet, and the New World Symphony, because he was in the New World. This piece was written in 1893, and it was written actually for his children, who must have been quite accomplished.
Right, I believe, now I'm not positive, but I believe the piano part was, definitely is not an accompaniment part. That piano part is the meat and potatoes of this sonatina. But my feeling is that he probably wrote the violin part for one of the younger members of his family, meaning non-adult members of his family. And even though it doesn't really go above the fourth position, it is beautifully written to respect music form and everything else that comes with making it a great piece, which is why it has been performed as part of the staple repertoire throughout the world for all these years.
Not just students, but I've played this with several professional violinists, because it's just so charming.
If you look it up on YouTube, you can see Gilbert Kramer playing it and all these other very, very famous violinists. So.
Right. So one of the things that you'll hear in this piece is his use of some folk elements. The second movement is sometimes extracted and just played by itself, and it's called the Indian Lament. And he, I think, did use either a spiritual or use some kind of native
By the way, the Indian Lament, and I know that's not PC, we're talking about history
That's
here
what
and
it
what
was
happened historically, but the Indian Lament, I believe, was a name that was given to it maybe by Fritz Kreisler, the famous violinist Fritz
Right.
Kreisler, later. And now, of course, we just like to think of it as bowing to the beauty of the various cultural elements that have we've been gifted with in this country from its first peoples.
So I think though that he does use authentic melodies in this. And then in the third movement, you'll hear, that's the scherzo, you'll hear kind of some fiddle sounds. It's either fiddle or hurdy-gurdy or something kind of rustic. And the last movement has a very folk feeling as well.
And full of humor. One time there is a big piano solo that's just like da 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 da, and then it goes on with the violin, but you'll hear it. It's very funny.
If you don't laugh, it's okay.
No.
But if you do, it's okay as well. So we'll start with that, and then the second piece on our program is completely different, and I let Maria talk about this. First, it's written for the viola, and you'll see these two instruments, they're similar but quite different.
But they both have really cool red mutes on them. That's just a
viola-
joke for you violinists and violists in the room.
So the viola is bigger and a lower instrument.
Also a different bow, much heavier bow for the instrument, and slightly longer, not much, just slightly.
So you'll hear a difference in color between the brightness of the violin and the more darker qualities of the viola. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, certainly. We are going to be playing 3 of the 4 movements. We'll have 3 sections that we do in this piece called the 9th Hour of Divine Office, but really it's a grand duo concertante, which means it's very virtuosic for both of the instruments, and the instruments exist on an equal plane. The piece was written in America, same as Dvorak's, even though Dvorak is European. I'm very happy, though, to use some Western European forms and maybe definitely some sounds in the tone language. And it is, you'll hear a lot of chant in it. So you'll hear, if you don't mind my saying so, I know this sounds a little hoity-toity, but it's syllabic, but without words. So the viola pretends, in a way, to be singing with words, sometimes just on a single note. So I think that's a little bit interesting. Also, there seems to be always in my heart in this piece a call and response. So we start with a call, and then we have our own response to it, but musically there is a big dialogue going on. So in these 3 movements, the final movement is dark. It's entitled Miserere, which is, you could even, without even knowing what it means, you can feel that there's some kind of misery in that. But then ends on a very happy, as though you've been delivered from something. And so we hope you enjoy that piece as well.
I wanted to say one thing. This is interesting from a composer standpoint, is that, so this piece was originally written for a choir. And that's why it has these, it was written for a church choir. It has,
It was the Yakima Symphonic Choir.
okay, but it was inspired by a religious part of the service, and so it used Latin, which Maria loves using Latin.
I like Latin because at the time I was writing a lot of music that was inspired by the Latin language. It was not an effectual spoken language for our world at that time. Of course, many of our Western languages are based on Latin, but no one was actually speaking Latin to each other. I think there's been quite a resurgence of Latin, but I loved the idea that it could be mysterious and have a separate meaning to each person, not just from a poetic standpoint. You can read a poem in English or in Spanish, and they would have, perhaps that would have a different meaning to each reader or listener. But in this case, was even more broad than that you could really make of it what you would, as though the words were part of the music.
So it was originally for the choir, and then Maria was asked to write a piece for the very unusual combination of tuba and piano. And I actually recorded this piece with a tubist, And it
Oh,
was,
we can give you that, we'll give Dr. Nova the YouTube link. There's
Yeah.
a
That'd be great.
recording. It's
and
beautiful.
it's
a recording.
very effective and very interesting on tuba, but there are very few tuba players that are accomplished enough to play this, and there's not a huge audience, or I should say a market for tuba players to play solo pieces. So Maria then, once again, said, I'm gonna rework the piece for viola. And it's quite different, actually, for viola. And so now you are hearing it in this third iteration, which is pretty fantastic.
Bias, love it.
Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna play some music and then we'll have some questions afterwards. Thank you.
One quick thing, even mentioning Diana Tash's Bach Woman CD that is available now. But Bach was one of the, of course, greatest. How can we? No words, right? Bach, J.S. Bach. But Bach took many of his themes and used them in different settings. And I've heard a lot of musicians say, "Oh, I hear that again in that cantata, or I hear that in that concerto. Wasn't that a classical concerto? No, it's a violin concerto." And I love that. I love that we can show the same music developed in different ways with different instrumentations.
Wow, what an amazing experience. Thank you so much. For sharing that. And all that music, because you heard your key.
With one movement we didn't play today, the doxology, which hopefully we'll get to play for you another time.
Yeah, but I have to say how fascinating you told us before that it was started as a vocal piece or
Right.
a choral piece, and giving that information was so key because we've been talking about program music this week and it's music that tells stories with words, without words, and so on. And we listen to Berlioz and Mussorgsky and
Wonderful.
Mendelssohn and so on. So
What a teacher.
so to have this piece, though, they can cap it off cap up the week with this was incredible.
Oh, thank you. Very kind. Thank you.
Questions for them
And
about?
don't be shy, please, because we're not. Yeah, we're not. We'll keep.
No.
Come on. No, somebody will. Just,
Really?
we have to have a first.
If you
Yes,
don't have any
we
questions,
have
we
one.
could have played the second movement, but we
We have
needed
one.
time.
Yes.
You may have said this and I missed it, but is this the first time that you have played your piece in public?
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
no, 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 no.
No,
No.
neither of my own piece, no. As a performer and a composer, I have had the chance to sort of disseminate my own music. So if there were other violists around, other pianists, perhaps more likely violists, they would say, hey, do you have the music to that piece? And so things get disseminated that way as well. So no, this piece is, we played it, we played it twice before the COVID lockdown. Once at Eastman School of Music, we were doing a faculty residency there, and we played, it says ESM on here,
Yeah.
219. Then we played it in 2020, right when everything started getting crazy
At Central
Washington University. And then we have not played it since then. So that is true. Oh wait,
And
no,
then actually,
it
wait a
was
minute.
alone in Philadelphia.
No, yeah, so
Yes, that's
Ria's
right.
husband is also a violist, so during COVID, I played actually 2 movements with him on a salon,
Because it was over Zoom, so it was
a Zoom salon in Philadelphia. But we played this even before, we played it even before all of this, many.
Yeah, many times. So I was just talking about the last couple of times that we
Yeah.
had played it before lockdown happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a question over here.
Oh, yes.
Hi.
I really love just like watching, not just hearing the music, but also like seeing it for like different experiences. As when you were, I could really see you with the violin, just as you like.
Are you a violinist?
No.
You look really
You should.
good when you
Your-
do
yeah,
that.
your
That was
bow- yeah, your
amazing.
bow arm was really good.
Yes, it was beautiful.
You're
And
natural.
people work for years to have a bow change like that. Yeah, that human needs to get a violin. So anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue. You were commenting about seeing
Yeah.
as well as hearing.
Like it just adds another like aura to the music. Like you're at the end, like at first it was like sort of like small strokes, but then later on it became like
It's rock and roll.
very short, very
Yes, exactly.
See, that's
You
why
are hired.
there's no substitution for live music and seeing it
Thank
in
you.
person.
Thank you for saying that. right?
Yeah, that's right. I
That's
know.
That's
Yeah.
exactly the point we're trying to make, right? That seeing music live, seeing the musicians go through what they do to present this kind of
Sweating.
music to you,
Oh, yeah.
and all the hours before this you didn't see that they've been rehearsing and working and so on, right? It's a real treat and a privilege to hear music like this and live and to see it live.
I think makes a fantastic point, Dr. Nova, because what we've gotten used to during lockdown time is seeing everything when we want to. We can tune into what we want to. Many of you may not have come here expecting to even enjoy this, and maybe you didn't even enjoy it. Maybe you did. We hope you did. But the point is that you are sort of forced to sit in a room where we're a captive audience in a sense right now, and maybe you can garner something different out of it than if you can always choose what you're listening to. There is that merit to that too, but I don't know if I'm
And there's-
saying the wrong thing, but I think it's important.
I think also when you're in a live concert, there's something like you can feel the sound waves. I do believe that. You can
Yes.
actually feel the energy coming that you just don't feel even in a sorry YouTube audience and that you don't even feel when you're seeing a quote live performance.
Well, I'm very grateful for YouTube. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for performances that
Yes.
I mean, in the fact that during the pandemic we could log into other people's live performances as well if they were doing something live in a safe way. But nothing like actually
the real thing. The real
yes,
deal.
the symbiosis between audience and performer and speaker.
Excellent.
Anything else?
Any final
Oh, wait,
question? Yes.
Christine.
Oh, we have a couple.
Two.
Got one.
Yes.
Which one?
Kimberly, go ahead.
Okay, do you enjoy like playing that?
That particular,
Oh.
this one that I just played? Yes. Yes, I do. But we enjoy playing Dvorak as well. There's something more tame, but I think we brought, hopefully we brought some craziness to Dvorak, especially towards the end, in deference to what his wishes perhaps have been.
One of the fun things about living when we do, I mean, we can play, how amazing that we can play music from so many different centuries.
130 years ago
You know,
was Dvorak.
But we can
To today.
play music that is so old and bring new life to it, keep it alive, and also play music that was written, you know, yesterday. And there's something as a musician, as a pianist, that's very special for me to be able to play music written by my friend, and that it's kind of mine. You know, no one can really except her.
And when the
No
music
one can
is
tell me how to
published-
play that except her.
Yeah, when the music, this is a score of mine, it's mine, got markings everywhere in it. But when the music is published, Wendy's name is on there as editor. She's helped a lot with how to actually, you know, how
Execute it.
Yeah, exactly, how to execute. If you want a short note or long note, different pianists see that, blah, blah, blah. She's imperative to and immeasurably valued by me.
Awesome. Christine, you had one last question? Oh, no?
Done.
I think so when she's
Helping. So is there another question while we wait for Christine?
yeah. Oh,
What do you love most about playing your instrument?
Both of us. What do we love most about? Oh, it's a part of my body. So the weight, the circles, you know, breathing in circles, the circulatory system, there's something about that just feels incredibly personal. Does that make sense? Personal. I also play piano, but I'm not in the same league as a pianist as Wendy, so I'd like to know what brings her to love the piano.
well, what I love about the piano is that it's like an orchestra. I can play all the different voices. I mean, I wasn't this time, right? Because this was chamber music, but there's something about playing piano that feels totally complete.
and yet she loves playing with colors.
Yeah,
other
and
colors
I
of
love the
instruments.
percussion. I love the percussion and the lyricism and the variety of the piano. Plus, there's like the most amazing music written for the piano. So.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna let you go.
Sorry if we-
Do you
okay,
want to
okay,
come up and
one
ask him a
question,
question?
I wanted that
Oh, okay. Make sure the clipboard is going around. If you'll bring it
Yeah.
up to the piano, please.
You can
Please ask how much. No, ask your question. Go ahead.
What is your question? Yes.
Where's the Eastman the School of Music?
Eastman School of Music is one of the top schools of music in the world. It's in Rochester, New York, and so it's connected now to the University of Rochester. But it is an amazing school. Look into it. They've developed their programs beyond just classical music. Now they've got all kinds of pop, and of course they've always had amazing jazz. But take a look at Eastman School of Music, my alma mater, which is why I was doing a faculty residency there. Thank you.